And welcome back, everyone, to the week of What If. From Alan Moore, we have the question of, what if Obi-Wan had actually raised Luke? Now, obviously, for this What If to work, they have to come to a different understanding of what to do with Luke. They hid him on Tatooine with family and didn't train him in the Force at all, so that he wouldn't be a target, so he could live a normal life until it was time to take him under Obi-Wan's wing and train him. And then, or Yoda, whoever was going to train him. However, here that would be different. Obviously, there's some discussion with Yoda and Obi-Wan. It's like, with family, you should be family. Yeah, normally I'd agree with Obi-Wan, but no. It's like, Master Yoda. I was like, no. At risk he could be, which we do in fact know that Luke was at risk, even being with the Owens or the Lars. Sorry, it's Lars Owen. It's Lars Owen and Aunt Beru. What is it? Beru Owen? What is their last name? Is it Lars or Owen? Like Beru Lars? His first name is Lars. His last name is Owen, right? So it's Beru Owen, right? Anyway, being with his aunt and uncle, but yeah, he was still in danger with them as well. Now he's also in danger with Obi-Wan too. If we watched the Obi-Wan series and read any of the comics, Obi-Wan had some adventures during that time period. In fact, Kalnaka, the Wookiee from Boba Fett, he is in those comics, and he's Obi-Wan's the reason he got that scar on his eye. So it would be a risk for Obi-Wan to be raising Luke. However, having him that close to Luke would probably be would give him some advantages. He would automatically know when Luke was in trouble, more or less. Granted, on those rare occasions he did leave off-world, like in the Obi-Wan series, he would have to leave Luke with someone else. Like, he would have to do something. Now, would he leave him, say, with Aunt Owen or Uncle Owen or Aunt Beru? That'd be difficult. That'd be difficult because he would run the risk of them basically being adamant about, no, you're not taking him away. And that's kind of counterintuitive to what the whole challenge is, or the what if is. That's not to say, though, there probably aren't individuals he can't leave Luke with. There probably are. But even so, it would still be dangerous he certainly would not be taking Luke off planet. I don't think that would be the case. But Luke would still be, at a risk from like the sister. I can't remember which one she was. Second sister, third sister, whatever she was, eighth sister. That character that no one liked in that show. So he'd still be at risk from that, but she still made the choice not to kill Luke. But more to the point, how does Obi-Wan go about raising Luke for the longest time? Because we know for the longest time that they didn't really. He didn't want to train Luke. I was about to say strain Luke. He didn't want to train Luke immediately. He wanted Luke to have a bit of a normal life, to wander, to learn, to dream, and all that. And I think he would take a half and half approach. I think he would start raising Luke in that way initially, but around, say, the age of 10 is where the change happens, because I think one of the things that Obi-Wan does make Luke know right out the gate, allow Luke to know right out of the gate, is right up front, is that I was once a Jedi Knight just like your father. And I think Luke's just like fascinated. He's just so, will I ever be a Jedi? Perhaps one day. Like he makes it. It's one of those things like, oh, maybe. You gotta behave, Luke, but maybe. And eventually, he does train Luke. He does, and obviously, he learns very quickly that Luke is very powerful. I mean, he's the son of Vader, so forth and so on. Now, that being said, as Luke gets stronger, they do have to leave Tatooine. They cannot be in an area where Vader or the Emperor could sense them if they're not careful. And so they would eventually make the choice, maybe around when Luke's 12, to leave Tatooine and head out into the stars and keep training Luke. Now, Luke also would build his lightsaber, and we know for a fact Luke's lightsaber is actually green. It's not blue. The blue one, it was Anakin's. And they make it all the way to Dagobah. Now, Dagobah is actually a perfect place for them to hide, because if it can hide Yoda, it can hide both of them for a good long while. Because there's a dark side nexus on that planet. That's why Yoda's able to be there without any sort of issue. Because Yoda's so powerful that he could be sensed nearly anywhere. You need a strong enough level of dark side to balance out and hide the light side, and vice versa. So they go there and say, "Oh, so where's Master Yoda?" "No, don't worry, you'll meet him." It's, it's like, wait, I can still see. Wait, you're Master Yoda? Young Skywalker. Good to see you, young Skywalker. And good to see you, it is, young Skywalker. I mean, Luke's just looking at this little Muppet, like, are you pulling a trick on me, Obi-Wan? It's like, trust me, I thought the same thing when I met him, but, did you? No, way, no. Oh, there's no reason to get, uppity, Master Yoda. And so Yoda shows off just how strong he is, like, lifts like a giant. Whoa, it's like, And so the training continues, and Luke would be taught under the tutelage of Yoda and Obi-Wan. In terms of like lightsaber combat, we know the like Legends Luke. We know Legends Luke was like a master of all 7 forms, and he made like a bunch of other forms as well. Now, in terms of what fighting style Luke actually uses, like just say by Return of the Jedi, it seems to be a combination of. We know for a fact Ataru was involved, Form 4, which is the acrobatic form. We also know that he has a little bit of, I think it's Jim-So, if I'm not mistaken, which is more of the blaster. Let me get the lightsaber forms up, because I remember the names. I believe it's Shio or Shicho, which is the standard form, which is what Luke probably would have been taught. We got Makashi, which is the duelist form. The 7 lightsaber forms. There is Ataru. No, not Ataru. Sorry. There we go. We got Makashi, duelist form. Yeah, Shicho, that was the first form, basic foundation. Sarisu, which is the form Obi-Wan's a master of, which is the defensive form. We don't see a lot of that form from Luke, at least in the movies. Though we see a little. I mean, he's clearly got some skill with it. We also have Ataru, which is the acrobatic form. That's what we saw in Return of the Jedi. Shin Jim-So, the aggressive counterattack form, which is basically I believe that is the form used more for blocking like blaster bolts and things along those lines. And counterattack Nemon, a balanced and adequate form, which is basically employed by a lot of individuals who use force in combination with their lightsaber form. And obviously Juyo/Vapad, which is the vicious, unpredictable form requiring intense focus, which is what Mace Windu knows. Luke most likely would be taught a combination of Ataru and Sarisu, but he would also probably study the other forms as well. Because I believe with the books that Master Obi-Wan had in his hut that Luke was staying in on Tatooine, he was still, he learned all the forms. And he certainly has base abilities with, or base knowledge of all these forms, especially when he's like going after Vader. He's clearly using either Vapad or just going full on Shin Jim or Form 5, which is basically the counter to Sarisu. So it's what would he probably be leaning towards right now? Definitely Ataru would still be in his repertoire. He probably has a mix. My guess would be, and obviously Form 1's the form they all learn. Every Jedi has learned Form 1. He'd probably also mixing a little bit of Shin and Jim-So in with Nemon as well. But along the way, they would be teaching him not to, tap into the dark side of the Force. Like, the dark side is easier, not stronger. And so time would pass as they get older. And they wonder if he's ready to go. And Luke's like, you've told me about Vader. I need to go stop him. It's like, you're not ready yet. As strong as you are, you're not ready yet. Eventually, though, Eventually, though, Luke probably would go on his own. Like, no, he's not ready yet. And the guy goes and tries to go after Vader himself. Probably stealing, either steal. They probably have more than one ship, to be fair, at this point. Like, he may be stolen an X-Wing. But, while, while this is all happening, we do have the original story to go over. C-3PO and R2-D2 would be on the planet, would go to Tatooine. The problem is, Obi-Wan's not there, which means he doesn't go to help stop the Empire. Han Solo does not get involved. He's still owing Jabba a lot of money. If we actually look at the first movie, how does Obi-Wan and Luke not being there really change anything? I guess is the real question. Surprisingly, it's not a lot until you get into, because their presence on the Death Star actually doesn't change anything. Really, like literally nothing at all as far as I know. I mean, yeah, Obi-Wan was like, he was just bringing down the tractor beam for the Millennium Falcon. So really nothing changed with him not being on the Death Star. The problem that does come awry is the fact that the rebellion pretty much gets wiped the fuck out. They do get the information from Leia, because they did have to like torture and probe her. She's stuck on the Death Star. And so like maybe parts of the rebellion do get off the planet in time, but they don't bring down the Death Star. That is the biggest problem. There's no one, like Luke's the one who got the final hit in to bring down the Death Star. So without Luke there, like, because they have no idea about Dagobah. They have no idea that Obi-Wan is off planet at this point. And now admittedly, Obi-Wan and Yoda and Luke all sense the destruction of Alderaan. So maybe that's where Luke actually goes out into, to help with the rebellion. Maybe they have an X-Wing that they've been lucked out in. Or maybe they have a full ship where Obi-Wan and Luke are both on. And they join up in the rebellion landing on Yavin 4. So you could work it around where they do show up. It's like hello, old friend. Hello. It's good to see you. And Miss Leia. Now, to be fair, old Obi-Wan, we never had Alec Guinness interact with Carrie Fisher in that movie. So you could still make an argument that there's no argument to be made. So it'd be interesting to see Leia with Luke at the same time. And Luke, having been more trained in the Force now, might sense something about Leia. It's like, no, Luke, we should be going. We're going to be needed. Now, mind you, like I said, she's still actually stuck on the Death Star, which means they can't actually bring down the Death Star without, killing Leia. So you're running into such a big, like, we're not even in an Empire yet, and they're already, like, in such a screwed position. Of course, to be fair, they sense the destruction of Alderaan, and maybe they try to go there, and then that's how Obi-Wan and Luke both wind up on the Death Star. That could also work too. Like, I'm really spitballing on the idea. I didn't write this one down. I'm just flying off the cuffs here. But yeah, that would probably make more sense, I suppose. And so they end up going there, and that's not a ship, that's a space station. And so there's like, we're being caught, Luke. I see. How are we gonna get out? And I can sense him. Vader is on that ship. Vader. And so there you go. But I can also sense something else. Yeah, I can sense it too. It looks like we have no choice. And maybe they still hide. Maybe their ship does have some vents, or like placing is like, hey, you. They get flown in their bed. They're able to maybe use the Force, kind of mind trick some stormtroopers, and they get out of their way. They're sneaking around. It's like, I can sense it's down here. And they're going, the door opens. Shh, who are you? I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you. It's like, Obi-Wan? Wait, Obi-Wan. So I've sent, and obviously, meanwhile, Vader is on the ship going, I sense something I haven't felt since, and there's Obi-Wan's alive. I must face him alone. And I think he's also Luke is keeping a very low profile here. Luke, get her back to the ship. I will take care of this. No, Obi-Wan, I know you've been training for this, but you're not ready yet. I mean, with all that year with Yoda, you'd think he probably would be ready, actually. But to be fair, they're also that's the familial kind of worry that Obi Wan would still have for Luke. Like he knows he's not Luke's dad, but he probably does kind of see Luke as his kid in some way. And it's like, no, it's like Obi Wan, and so he sends Luke off, and Vader and him have this confrontation. But the added bit in there would be, I sensed something, Obi-Wan, when you came here. You weren't alone. I sensed another, stronger presence than even yourself. And yes, you'll be no match for him, Vader. He's becoming too strong even for us. Say us. Master Yoda. So they continue their fight. So ultimately, so Vader's like sensing the sensing Luke off in this, and could it be young Sky? And so they make it off. They go back to the rebellion. Now, do they go back to the rebellion, or do they have to make it the Tatooine first? Because there's so much crap that would go on here with Luke not actually being where he's supposed to be, and Obi-Wan not being where he's supposed to be, them not being on the Death Star when they get there, and having R2 and 3PO there. There's a lot of bullshit happening. There's really a lot of bullshit. So, unfortunately, I do think a lot of the rebellion kind of gets axed off, and the Death Star is still, very much around. But they think they still make it back to Tatooine, get the Death Star plan, so they make another attack run later on in the series for, Empire, when that happens, while they're on Hoth. And that's when the Death Star gets taken down, but they get led back to Hoth. And so I actually see, them trying to make them getting out of there, and Luke just saying, go. I'll deal with this. Go. And so instead, because Vader did go personally down onto Hoth, if I remember correctly. It's like, I see. So we meet at last, young Skywalker. It's like, you're right. This is over, Vader. You and the Emperor are no longer going to be able to wreak your vengeance on the galaxy. I see. Obi-Wan has taught you well. And then, the lightsaber comes out, and they begin their fight. And Vader's like, impressive. Most impressive. Their fight would probably go really hard. Because Luke has just been trained this whole life to, this is what I need to do. I need to defeat him. He's evil. This isn't Return Luke where he knows his father. No, father. And Vader's actually probably having a difficult... Because when he throws telekinesis, Luke just... just does it right back at him. And, he does telekinesis back. They have a telekinetic battle. And, they're going toe-to-toe. But I say, most impressive, young Skywalker. But... I do not wish to kill you. Don't make me destroy you. You really think you will destroy me, Vader? Yeah, you strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. And Vader's like, you got that from Obi-Wan. I see our mentor has certainly instilled his faith in you, hasn't he? But he didn't tell you everything. Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your real father. It's like, he told me enough. And unlike before, it's like, he told me enough. He told me you killed him. It's more like he told me you killed him. No, Luke, I am your father. And Luke just feels it in his soul. It's like, no. It's like, no, and he's just coming in. That's right, give in to your anger. Only your hatred can destroy me. And now Luke's kind of he is pushing Vader, but Vader's taking advantage of it and starts hitting him with telekinesis. It's like, no, that's not true. That's impossible. Search your feelings, Luke. You know it to be true. And by Luke, because they're fighting in the base, just brings the whole part of the camera does. So Luke heads out, goes back to the Dagobah system. Yoda would still actually be roughly in decent shape, he's not dying or anything yet. 900 years old. You look as good, look as good. You do. And so Luke basically confronts Yoda about it. Like, you told me Vader murdered my father. What I said was true from a certain point of view. A certain point of view? And so he confronts them both on it. It's like, how can I kill my own father? And ultimately, I think it still ends in the same way, except once him and Vader, go toe to toe. Oh, first off, Han Solo is not anywhere to be found in this. Leia is still part of the rebellion, but it's a much weaker rebellion. But Luke would still be able to bring Vader to the light, I think. But I mean, the second Death Star being built, Endor probably is screwed. The rebellion might just be done in at that point, but Vader does bring his dad to the light side. And they do probably take down the Emperor together. But unfortunately, without Han, there's no reason to go back to Tatooine to get Han. So that whole thing doesn't happen. Han's probably just doing his thing, or he's been turned into a carbonite statue already. There's really not much with Cloud City at this point, to be fair. Yeah, even they only went to Cloud City, Bespin, because that was Han's idea. So really, I mean, there's not much. There's a lot that Leia would still probably be fine and all that, but if I'm gonna be honest, Luke would find his way onto the Death Star, the second Death Star, and yeah, Han, and he'd probably bring his dad back to life. Hell, he might not even kill his dad, to be honest. He might be able to just bring him back to light naturally, and they would team up against the Emperor and bring him down, which would then lead Luke to bring in the next era Jedi. Honestly, there's no Ben Solo issue here because Han and Leia really don't ever get together. And I mean, Vader could be. There's a comic where Vader actually does get turned back to light, and he's now wearing a white version of his suit, which is pretty cool. And so maybe him and Luke kind of help rebuild a new Jedi Order, maybe with the help of Ahsoka. Who knows? Maybe him and Ahsoka, get together. I don't know. I'm spitballing on that, but I mean, it's not impossible. They'd be they're not the same age, but she's not that much older than him. I mean, to be fair, he's in his late 20s by the end of the Return of the Jedi, and Ahsoka would be. How old is Ahsoka in Clone Wars? And then it's about. Well, hold on one second. How old is Ahsoka? Let's see. Ahsoka age. How old is Ahsoka? She's got to be in her 40s at least. Okay, Ahsoka is approximately 47 years old by the events of Disney Plus Ahsoka series, which takes place around 11 AB. She was born 36 AB before the Battle of Yavin, making her 14 at the start of Clone Wars series. Okay, and she's 32 around the time of Rebels, and 45 when she appears in The Mandalorian. And Ahsoka apparently takes place 2 years after that? Okay. So that would mean, and Luke is roughly at best in his early 30s. I mean, it's a bit of an age gap, but nothing that would really be inappropriate if they wanted to have a thing. And obviously we know Luke would kind of change a lot of the Jedi ways. He did that in Legends. Jedi could get married and have kids and all that stuff. So, I mean, if Obi-Wan did raise Luke, would he be far stronger because he would probably take him to go see Yoda at some point? Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%. Would that be necessarily good for the entire movie or series? Wouldn't be bad, but some of our characters would not either be in the story really at all, or they would get the shaft pretty much. But I mean, that's just my opinion of what if Luke had been raised by Obi-Wan. Let me know if you think this would go very different. I'm sure there's a lot of different opinions on how this would go. But until then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.